Ladies and gentlemen.
Hi, it's Pete Moore. Welcome to PCMGuns. Lever-action rifles have been with us since the 1860s. Perhaps you remember the Henry and the various Winchesters, 1866, 1873, 1876. And they became, like Marlin, who also make lever actions, almost a household name. They're still around today. Probably the only drawback with the lever action rifle is the fact that the traditional design uses a fixed tube magazine, which is great because you can't lose a fixed tube magazine, and it loads through a side gate. So you can actually top up as you're shooting. You can fire 2 rounds, put 2 in, but if you could run dry, then filling a magazine to capacity takes some time, and it's quite hands-on. Okay, but that's the limitations you expect with a lever action rifle. At the turn of the 19th century, there were massive advances being made in ballistics and also chemically in terms of propellant, because we saw the first smokeless propellants and the first pointed Spitzer type bullets, which means the rifles could shoot faster, longer rangey and harder and hopefully more accurate. And it wasn't long before firearms manufacturers saw this as a thing they could use to make money, and they decided to start producing box magazine lever actions, which up until then just didn't exist, because then with a pointed cartridge you can put it in a box magazine for a lever action, whereas with a tube magazine, a pointed bullet can, under recoil, hit the primer of the round in front and set it off. Okay, so everybody credits Winchester with their 1895 as the first box mag gun, which is not strictly true, because Savage Arms had a couple of experimental models out before 1895, and then they launched in 1899 with their Model 99 rifle, which was a fixed magazine but hammerless, nice enclosed action, and then they moved on to the 99C, which was exactly the same rifle but with a detachable box magazine. And though I like the 1895, in fact I have one, the truth is I think the Savage 99 is the better design, I really do. Anyway, enough of that. That set the bar for box magazine guns, and I think in some ways it made the lever action rifle far more attractive to people that perhaps wouldn't consider one. So after the Second World War, Winchester had their Model 88, which looked like a standard rifle, just no bolt and a lever with detachable box mag. Seiko, of all people, made their Finn Wolf, which is rated as one of the better modern lever action box mag guns ever made. Henry had their Long Ranger, which is actually quite a good rifle, and Browning came in with the BLR, which I have here. Now the BLR has been around since in the early 70s, and there were lots of different models. These days Browning has got it down to 2 models. This is the Tracker, which is an 18.5 inch highly compact lever gun, and its brother is the Hunter, the lightweight Hunter, which is a 22 inch barrel, and this has, as we see, grey laminate stock, grey Cerakote finish, very pretty looking gun, which makes it very practical, whereas the lightweight Hunter has a brown laminate stock and a black finish. But the real idea behind these very short barreled rifles, and hence the name of this gun, is a Tracker. I've done a lot of ball shooting in Germany and many other countries, and if you shoot a ball and it doesn't go down, it will run, and if you're on a stand you can't leave your stand, and when you finish shooting they'll send like the tracking guys around, and they say, did you see anything? Yes, I shot something, I'm not sure if I hit it, and it ran. And they always have a dog with them on a massive, like 100-meter lead, and they all carry little short rifles, not necessarily lever actions, but 20 inch, sub that, so it's handy, mainly iron sights, you can put a dot on it if you want to, and that's really the reason this, and it's compact, light and handy, and it's offered in both models only 3 calibers now: 308 Winchester, 30-06 Springfield, and 300 Win Mag. And as we shall see, barrel length certainly does make a difference to the rifle. But this is, I decided I wanted another BLR, and I didn't want a 30-06 or a 300 Win Mag, because I've already got a 30-06 Morale. I want something really compact. and this did suit, though I think I would have probably gone for the 22-inch gun if I'd had the option. There was only this available at the time, and I just thought, well, sod it, I'll give it a go. It's a little bit different, a little bit short for me, but we'll try it. And that's that. Okay, let's look a bit closer. The rifle comes with grey laminate furniture. I quite like it. It has a medium height straight comb, quite a full pistol grip, nicely checkered, cutie sling studs, and the action is what I call rack and pinion. What happens is, that's the lever there, so the trigger disconnects with this, which is quite nice, and under here are teeth, and there's a small like quadrant which is also toothed, and what happens is, as you open the action and shut it, it moves along and drives the bolt carrier back. This bolt carrier is very much like an M16 bolt carrier. This is the carrier. Inside is the bolt head, which is a multi-lug head, so it's a very modern system for what is, in terms of design, quite an oldish rifle. This carrier is splined and it runs in the receiver, so it keeps everything straight in line as such. Trigger is wide, curved, grooved, gold plated, and though you don't expect miracles from a lever action, the pull is probably about, I don't know, 4, edging a bit on, but it's reasonably crisp. It's certainly a little bit heavier than perhaps you're used to on a better quality bolt action rifle, but it's not so bad at all. There's no safety catch in like you'd see it on a Remington 700 with a sliding lever that goes from safe to fire. It's all done on the hammer. That's full cock. Pull the trigger, bangs down, fires the gun. So if you're going hunting, put your magazine in, jack your first round in the chamber, and then you have 2 choices. You can hold the hammer, squeeze the trigger and lower it down and let go of the trigger, and the hammer will stop before it hits the firing pin, so you can carry that all day long. That's when I go out with this. I carry it like this. It's quite quick. If you want more safety, the actual hammer spur is hinged. If you watch the hammer spur, you press up with your thumb and it goes forward and drops below the line of the firing pin, so in this situation the gun is incredibly safe. You can't open it up until that, and it's a good way to carry it, but the problem is it takes a tad more getting back into action. Feed is from a 4-round magazine. Wish it was 5, but it's not. Just goes in there, the catch at the front, goes in, clips in nicely. It's an easy magazine to use. Quick. The rear sight's a skeleton rear sight. It's a V notch, but as you can see the V plate has been hollowed out each side, which really does make it good for getting onto target quickly, and you can see a lot more. That sits on a raised base and is adjustable for windage only. The front sight is a Dayglow red-orange bead, and it's adjustable for windage and elevation. If you look at those white markings there, they're like line-up lines, so you can just undo the screws and move the block left or right, or screw the sight up and down, which is good. There's the fore end again, same quality construction as the butt, with a Schnabel type fore end and the other QD, and the checkering is very nice indeed. Scope mounting, I had a bit of a nightmare with this initially. When I got the rifle, I asked Browning if they could supply me with a Nomad scope mount for the rifle, which is a dental made, badged up by Browning, and it's a 2-piece system. You have a base and you have a removable top section with the rings. I've got that system on my Browning Morale, and it's brilliant. There's no question about it. Easy on, easy off, no loss of zero at all. However, Browning promised me a base and never sent it, and I have no idea why. And I sat around my hand for 3 months waiting for them to send the mount. They never did. They never said why they didn't do it, and so I ended up, I had to go and get myself something, which broke my heart. But I got an EGW rail from Brownells UK, which sits on top on this, what is a short action receiver, because the 308 is a short action gun, where the 30-06 and the 300 Win Mag are long action guns. And I've got to say, it's a good little base. You can still use the iron sights quite easily, and obviously you can put on a scope there, or you can put on a red dot, whatever you want to do. But that's the way of it. I would say if you're going to get one of these, order a Nomad system if you want to sort of alternate between sighting systems. If not, get this, because that's only 50 quid. The Nomads obviously are a lot more expensive. But that is the BLR Tracker in 308. Got a red dot on top. Equally could use a scope like my 1.5 to 6x42 Schmidt. But in some cases, up close and personal, this is where the gun really excels. It's short and handy. So I've just got a nice little dot on here. You can also put 5 in the gun, basically chamber the first round, shut it, put the hammer in the safe, then put a full mag in, so you've got 5. That's the idea. So I'm going to shut the action, back half cock, mag just clips in. So, we're ready. That's it. For a little short gun, it's reasonably recoil friendly, I must say. And as you can see, the action is nice and fast. Perhaps you don't need a lever action, which is obviously quicker than the bolt. But at times, perhaps if you're pig shooting, then something like this has got quick action for a follow-up shot is never a bad thing. Okay, so let's discuss this little baby. First of all, typically I put a butt bag on it because the comb can be, it's not that low, but it's a little bit low. Depending on how high your scope is, then you might need a bit of a cheek rest there. Also, it takes the sting out of a 308 a little bit, which is quite nice. Plus you've got a place to put your sandwiches. But yeah, that's what I do. I've got a sling, obviously. Right, first impressions. Handy little gun, yes, looks good. Love the finish, Cerakote grey laminate, superb. Trigger's not bad. I did expect miracles from Browning, but say roughly 3 or 4 pounds, a little bit heavy, but livable with. Magazines feed well, drop well, no problem at all. Capacity's 4. Personally, I'd like to see 5. That's just me. It doesn't really matter. It's not important. Lack of safety catch doesn't bother me at all because you've got this system where you can fold that down. You've got half cock. Depending on what you do, just be aware. You know, it's one of those rifles you don't want to be walking around with, or even sitting high seat with it fully cocked and no mechanical safety, even though that's your safety. Love the iron sights on it. It shoots surprisingly well for what it is. The biggest criticism I have, if you could call it that, is the 18.5-inch barrel. I like it for its compact nature, but it does rob you of velocity. Here's, just out of interest, I haven't done a huge amount of actually testing with this yet because I'm still working out a reload for it. But using Winchester Extreme Point, which is a non-lead 150 grain, they quote 2,808 feet per second from the box. Over the chronograph, high was 2615, low was 2587, the average was 2603, with a standard deviation of 14.5, which is pretty good. That's a loss of 205 foot-pounds, which turns into an energy figure of 2,260, which for 308 is quite low. See if that's a 20-inch tube or a 22, it would be well above that. But that is the problem with short barrel. However, saying that will kill game all day long because I shoot 6.45 Swede, and 2,260 foot-pounds of energy is quite good for a calibre like that. So that's what you're looking at, and I imagine if you had the 30-06 or 300 Win Mag version, that would be even worse, and also a lot worse to shoot. I then tried some Celebello 110 grain blue XRG, which is a non-lead monolithic ballistic tip hollow point, and that was very, very slow. It really was. Average was 2219, and that gave you an energy of 1,213 foot-pounds, which is just, well, you just couldn't have it in a hunting rifle. It would be completely illegal. However, the groups were sub 1 inch, probably near a 0.7, which is quite impressive. So, but I've been told that this original stuff, so I've had it for a year or so now, is the old design, and my keeper friend of mine says they tried some new stuff, same bullet weight, same non-lead type bullet, and it really cracks on. So really, that could be a good option from that point of view. But I'm working around, you know, weights and things, and as you can see, it's a matter of just reloading. I've kept reloads quite low, but you know, you get some factory ammo, it's not going to be too bad. But basically, if we take the Winchester Extreme Point non-lead as a yardstick, you expect to lose around about 200 feet per second, but you still get 2,260 foot-pounds, which is more than enough. And for a rifle like this, where you probably wouldn't be pushing the envelope in terms of range too far, maybe 200, 250, it's probably more than adequate. But again, it's a matter of finding what you like. I'm working towards some loads. So you have the 150 grain bullet, which initially you can drive quite fast, but it also drops off in terms of velocity quite quickly. So I'm thinking something like a 168, 165, that sort of thing. What I don't like is the fact it's not threaded. I just cannot believe that I didn't thread it. They're going to just set the foresight back half inch, put a 14mm throw in there, as they did with the Hunter Light, which is a little bit annoying. But it's fast, in action, it feeds well and reliably, not a problem. So yeah, I like it. I'm the person that I don't think I'll have any problems with it once I'm going to load and I'm knocking deer over with it, but it's definitely going to be more of a woodland type gun or that sort of thing. If you are going to get one of these, then I would suggest you find out about the availability of the Browning Nomad scope mounts, because they really are a brilliant scope mounting system. I love mine on my rail, I really do. But overall, a nice rifle. Not massively expensive. I think they're around about 1,500 or thereabouts. So this day and age, for what is quite a sophisticated design, it's pretty good. But yeah, but I think if you just want one of these because you like the idea of something different, then get the 22-inch Light Hunter or Hunter Light, because that's got another 2.5 inch barrel, sorry, 3.5 inches of barrel, which can make a massive difference to velocity, energy. I'm not sure actually though, because this thing with nothing of gun shot here really shot over the inch, and I wasn't really trying that hard. I was just sort of fiddling with it. So there it is, worth a look. Very different, very nice. So if you like that, tell your friends. Didn't, tell me as ever. Like and support the channel. If you need to speak to me, it's pmoore.shootingsports@gmail.com, and I'll see you again soon with some more stuff. And until then, good and safe shooting.